¿Cómo desbloqueo? Okay. Hola a todos. Hola a todos, hola a todos. ¿Me escuchan? Bueno, estamos live. Estamos completamente live. Y esto es un live. So this live is called God is in my business. So I am a Spanglish Latina. My name is Legend Vega. And I'm here to talk to you about different topics. And today I want to talk about good men and bad men. Batman. No, I'm serious about it. Okay, so God is in my business. I would like to. I'm letting people to jump in to see if I see anybody that I know. If not, I am trying different times to see how this work, but I will definitely let you know what exactly. My intention is to jump at 11 o'clock. And I'm still experimenting. And let me see, I am really experimenting. So payables, I don't know what is all this. So basically, okay, so I see, I'm glad. Thank you for joining us. This is a safe space for everyone who feels like doesn't have a friend and it wants to talk. I really appreciate if you let me your comments. And if you have something to say, you want some questions, female questions, if you have a friend that is going through something very difficult, please make sure to send the link and, you know, subscribe and put all the notes, hit the bell, absolutely everything. Like everybody here, I am Legend Vega. My name, it's Legend Vega. That it's my name. It's also my company's name. And I'm here just because one time in my life, a long time ago, I was in a situation that it was very stressful. It wasn't the best time of my life. And it's hard to have no one to really to share. And unfortunately, we all feel like nobody can help us. And it's sad that sometimes we need somebody to speak and we don't have no one. So I'm gonna let you know this is a safe space. So if you want to say something, if you want to say, oh, thank you so much, Angel, Cynthia. Thank you so much. So I'm here in case you need somebody to speak. Please feel free to contact me. Okay, I want to start with an invitation. You can find in my in the description. I'm gonna place the link in the description. Um, is the almost 2 weeks of videos, is actually 22 days of short videos that are going to help you, and it's completely free. You can access all that content for free, and I know at least one video is for you. One video, we talk in those videos, We talk even about business, about your relationship, about what we go through as human beings. And let me tell you something, it's a game change. I even have like three topics where I talk about terminal illness. Because if you think it's hard for a woman to not have friends in a, USA, this is a wonderful country, but when you leave your country of origin, you leave your friends, you leave your family, you don't have no one to go for. So you feel very lonely, and this is the space. We talk about absolutely everything. I do believe that you can be wonderful and you can create everything you want 360 around you. So you can be successful in your household, you can be successful in business, you can be successful as a mother, you can be successful as a businesswoman. And I do believe, and I believe in that. And because I believe in that, I have achieved that. I'm still in progress. I am not a millionaire yet, but like I say to my family, I know with me, the broke is over. With this one, I said to all my cousins, to all my uncles, and to my brothers, I tell them, with me, the broke family is over because I am gonna make it. I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna make it so big that I am so sure I'm gonna be part of the history. So, just to let you know, I take things very serious since I was a very, very small child. I was very abusive, come from a very family, very chaos family, alcoholism. My parents fight, police comes over almost every night. By the time of 10 years old, I knew the entire police district. They were almost like friends to me. So I have a higher respect for police forces. But at the same time, I couldn't understand. At when you're little, you just think and you want somebody to come and rescue you and save you. And I couldn't understand why police couldn't take my father and couldn't take the person who was hurting us and putting us in danger. And of course, as a child, I couldn't understand that. But as an adult today, I understand. And I understand that we, a lot of women and even men, we go through so much trauma. And that's why I can tell you it doesn't matter what is your past. You don't have to live with that forever. You can decide it's up to here. That's it. It ends with me. My family and my future generations are going to have a different life. Okay. So I do believe you can have it all. I do believe you can have it all. And I go through everything that my brain and determines is gonna do. And how I do that, I start very young. I learn that the same way people manipulate us, we need to recognize the manipulation. Okay. So starting from there, I start to learn codes and starting and going back to the story of my childhood. So I couldn't comprehend why the police couldn't take my father and couldn't, and they took it. They took it many, many, many times, but then next day he was out and ready to abuse us even worse. I even have a brother that commits suicide. He was so heartbroken. Imagine if your family doesn't love you. You know what a child think? A child think nobody's gonna love me. You have to come up beyond all that, beyond all that, to understand that the parents you have in this life, in this carnal life, they're not your really parents. And that's how I survive. I learned very young age that I was the daughter of a creator, and I have the blessing to understand and to recognize God as my savior very early by age 12. And I was not going to church all the time. You're gonna laugh because I was even Buddhist for so long, and I found Jesus inside of the Buddhism church, which is called Kaikan. So one day when I was 12 years old, I asked a policeman, why, if you take my father, why next day he's out to beat us worse, to be the person who was and hurt us? Why? And they, straight to my face, they told me, because your mother, she drops the charges. So at that age, I found the cause why my father come back to hurt us. Thank you so much, Lincoln Detour. Thank you. So, saying that, this is the first time I have to make a decision. And when I decide to make a decision, I walk to my mother and say to my mother, Mom, can you please, next time that police come, please let them take daddy and don't do anything. Please do not drop the charges. Do you know how much courage? Can you imagine how much courage a 12 years old girl have to tell to your mother to not to let imprison your father? That's tough. That's really tough. And I survived all that. And then just not just that, I understood why my mother couldn't do that. And she did this time when I asked her, right? Because I used manipulation on her. I told her, if you don't leave my father, I'm gonna go with the first man I found in the street. And the first man, what I meant, it was I want the police to take me and put me in the government, an assistant living with any other parent, any other family that can take me. Do you think I want that? I didn't want that. I knew better. I knew I was better in my situation in my own house than living with strangers. Okay, so I knew, but that is called manipulation. Okay, the same way my father manipulates my mother and say certain things to have the right to hit her and to harm their kids. You see? So you need to start learning as a woman, okay, and as a girl to listen people's words and start recognizing, predators' behaviors. And I'm going to be very, very straightforward to this, because in business, okay, we are going to find predators' behaviors in business. So if you don't recognize that in your personal life and you don't know how to deal with it, believe me, when those animals come to you in your business as colleagues, employees, all that, you're not going to be able to recognize it. And guess what? It's when your company goes like down. Okay. So knowing yourself very well is going to be a tremendous, it's going to have a tremendous effect in anything you do entrepreneurship. Okay. So it's very important. So going back to that story. So my mother, I found two things. She dropped the charges, so now I knew what I need to do for her not to let my father to come back again. And then next, I found out same day that the reason she always dropped the charges is because she didn't have any school. She just have second grade. My father have sixth grade, so he was better in education, sixth grade of elementary school, people. Okay. So second grade, and just to let you know, in my family, I'm the only one. From all my brothers, I'm the only one had been in college and university and study everything. So that for me, I said that as that was one of the sets, the things that I said, and I said I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be the first one in my family to go to college. Okay. So yes, of course, I have nephews and I have nieces that have been in college and graduated and very bright and intelligent. But from in my family, from all my brothers, I was the only one. So saying that, I'm very proud. So I start achieving things, and that proud take me to the next. That's why people call it momentum. Okay. In the business world, that is called momentum. And that's why they're telling you you cannot get out from the momentum time. You cannot take a break when you have your momentum. You have to keep going. Okay. But that is in everything in life. Okay. Same thing. You are going to learn in these 22 days of transformation or change. If you go to my bio, you're going to find the link there, and you are going to have 22 days of a um, small videos that you can apply to your life. At least one I know is going to help you. And if you know any other woman who needs a space that she can ask questions, that she can, please send this link to her. Okay, so this is the podcast. My name is Legend Vega, and I've been in the music industry and as a producer, and I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. My first job was as an entrepreneur, and I didn't even knew I was an entrepreneur. So that's what I'm saying. Be, do, have is totally wrong. You have to do, be, and have. You have to do, then be, and have. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, my first job was, I was an entrepreneur, and I didn't even knew I was an entrepreneur. Why? But I did the action. God put in my heart since I was very little. I was very talented, and I used to do little performers and little theatrical stuff and music stuff within my neighborhood. And I remember preparing all these entertainment for my neighbors, right? Which they didn't even like me because I was the daughter of a house. I was the girl of the house that has a chaos house. However, I found ways to make these practices and rehearsals in somebody else's houses so other kids feel welcome and all that. They couldn't come up to my house, something that I never spoke about it. Nobody, at that time people were polite enough to let me know, to not even, say something like that. But today, let's be honest, I have a son. I have three kids, four kids in total. And if I see a behavior like that in a household, I don't want my child there because I love my child and I want my child to be successful and safe, right? So today I totally understand all that, but as a child I couldn't. So, but I was very determined, and I make all these little shows here and performance in around my neighbors, and they used to pay 25 cents because I knew what I was doing. It have to cost something. And I was always I love money since very little. And I remember adding these tickets. I even made tickets that says 25 cents and write the in paper and give it to my neighbors with the date of the performance so they can buy 25-cent seat to see the performance of all the kids. So for some reason that was in my heart since very little. The other, it was that I love music. And I discovered very early in my childhood that I was a good singer. So this was my life. My father, like I said, he was an alcoholic and a very abusive. He was so abusive that he takes vacation or work. I don't know, it was a vacation or work, and he disappeared for almost a month. I remember it was a long period, maybe even more. But guess what? He locked us inside of the house so we couldn't go out. We couldn't get out. And he always do it in summertime when I didn't have to go to school or in Christmas. And the reason I know that is because those times I didn't have classes. So if I didn't have school, it's because it was summer or Christmas. Saying that, those were the most beautiful times in my life. My best memories that I was having fun with my brothers. I have two other adults, brothers at that time, and they were like 8 years older than me, between 6 and 8 years. So they knew they also have some artistic, and they learn how to perform and play, sorry, the guitar. And it's this Puerto Rican instrument that is called cuatro. The other brother learned how to play the cuatro. So saying that, I was one day at that time, I remember, I don't know if you remember the Jackson 5, that song performed by Michael Jackson, Ben. So that song, it was the song that I learned, and my brothers used to play over and over and over until I learned it. And I remember using something that looks like a microphone, a tool from the kitchen, and I start singing. And remember, we were locked in the house, but we were so happy. We couldn't go out, not even to the grocery or anything. My mother didn't have a key. This was like that. It was part of the abuse, but we didn't know it was abusive or not. We, as a kid, we don't know. Maybe my brothers knew, but I didn't. So I started singing that night, and at the end of the singing, I heard all my neighbors start clapping. They were all got so attracted to my voice, and that's how I discovered I have a talent, that I could sing. That's how I knew. So saying that, for me it was very, very, uh, I was very grateful, and that is the start of everything. So I do believe, up to this day, that music saved my life, because I become a writer of my feelings, of writer of my potential depression, writer. And I said potential depression because even today I have never been diagnosed by none of those mental illnesses, which sometimes I feel very skeptical, because I feel like sometimes people feel the way they feel because they are in circumstances that are very hard, and they don't know how to get out. They don't know, they wear a mask and they go out, and people outside, they don't even know they're going through that. It's many stories like that out there. And if you are one of those, I encourage you to start speaking. I encourage you to find help, and I encourage you to be brave and get out from that situation. However, you do whatever you need to do to get out from that circumstance. I did, and I did it when I was 12 years old. I manipulate my mother. And I told her, if you don't let my father in prison and he come back and beat us again, I'm telling you, I'm living with the first man that passed through the street and I'm going to ask for help. And in her desperation, she did. And in exchange of that, she told me that she didn't do it before because she was so scared how she's going to pay the house. We own a house at that time. And guess what? I decide to start working. After school, I start working. And that work make me more sufficient. It makes me feel happier. And I was extremely tired. I have to do my homework. I have to do, but just it was easy and fun. And I noticed it. I remember even today, I look back and I'm like, I was never depressed. Why I was never depressed? Because I always was writing a song. But if you really heard my music, it was very sad. The lyrics were extremely sad, but they were decoding music. They were like, they say weird expressions to tell you how much I'm suffering, but really you couldn't see it from firsthand, right? Saying that, I have never, I never felt like I was now hopeless. I knew I'm going to make it. I knew I'm going to get out. I knew I just have to be active. I have to manipulate. I have to do what it needs to be. I have to do. I learned very early. At 7 years old, I knew exactly when my dad is going to start hitting us, what he's going to say. So he was a predator. He was a manipulative person. And when a manipulator start is gonna start doing, he's gonna find ways to start fighting over something. He's gonna make the person feel like you are the problem. He's gonna treat you with silence. He's gonna use this tactic of silence, who is gonna make you very insecure. Sorry, but I have allergies. So saying that, you need to get out from that, and you need to be brave, and you need to not worry about what's going to happen tomorrow. I promise you, if you are in that situation, the best thing you're going to do is to get out. If you don't have family close to you, you need to find anyone, but you need to get out from that circumstances. Okay, so once I found this job and I was 12 years old, how do you think I found that job? I found that job because I lie in paper. When they give me the application, I put I was 15 years old. So I add 3 years to my age to be able to work. At that time, computer in Puerto Rico was not a big deal. They didn't even have that. So everything you put in paper, they believe it. And if your parents signed, which my mom signed the papers, then she basically allows me to work. And that's all. So I didn't have to take birth certificate or none of that. So wow, I was very grateful for that, and I started working. When I started receiving my first paycheck, I remember it was $98. I remember like today. And with that money, you have to I have to pay electricity, um, water, and utilities, and put some of that money for the house. I remember the mortgage in the house. I knew all these numbers because I start taking over my father bills, because he's not going to be able. And my mom and I, we exchanged that. She couldn't. She feels like she was a second grader educated person, and she in her head, she really thought she couldn't work. She put completely her, this was the ceiling in her head. It was right there. She couldn't grow anymore. because she believed she couldn't grow anymore. She believed that she couldn't say, not even say, I'm a second grader. I'm ashamed. I'm a second grader level education. So you, the thing is that who cares? I'm telling you, I wish my mother knew better. And I didn't know better how to say, hey, mom, I just basically did what she want me to do. She wants me to work, I work. And for me, maybe you think, man, that mom abused her too. No, 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 no. Don't think that. It makes me so strong. By the time of 21 years old, I was already a producer in Puerto Rico, a TV producer of my own show. And I was an entrepreneur, and I didn't know that I was an entrepreneur. I didn't know I have an own business. I didn't know all those papers I put together, it was a business. For me, they were papers, legality. But I didn't know the consequences, what impact they have. But I do action. I take the step. Even if I don't comprehend how it works, I take the step and do it. So for me, the action of do is the first thing. It's not be. So that action is going to take me to the be, to the person I'm going to become. And you always going to become better. It's never going to be when you do the action, bad or good, you're going to have a consequence. Let me, if you, if you do smoking or you start drinking alcohol, you're going to have an impact in your life as the same person that decide to take a book and read about something or take a course or pay a program. That person is going to have the same impact. It's going to become someone better, or it's going to lower themselves to something not that better. Okay? So if we are here, think, when you start thinking how I'm going to be able to see things different, if whatever decision you are going to make, whatever decision you're going to make, you need to ask yourself if this decision honors myself, and if you want to go harder on you for you to make a decision, a better decision, ask yourself if this decision I'm about to take honors God, and if it's honor God, go for it. Do not stop. Do it. If it doesn't honor God, it doesn't honor you. And believe me, that is going to save you so much. Remember, your past, your parents, you easily can forgive them. You know why? Because they were only the vehicle that God have to bring you to this earth, to this beautiful and amazing planet. But if you really think close, God is your creator. He's your father. He is your father. And when I understood that, and I think I knew it always, you're going to go up with your head up anywhere, and you're going to feel valuable. You are valuable. You born with that grace. So I just want you to think about it. You're not anything. You're unique. You're beautiful. You are bright. You can make anything you want when you put your attention to, when you focus. And then the other thing I'm going to tell you, think with who you speak, with who you joined your bed. That person needs to be your best friend, but the best friend that wants the best for you. And you are the only one who's going to make all those decisions. And that's why I exhort you to go to my description on my bio and download the 22 days of transformation. It is for you and it's free. Go ahead and do it. I know at least one video is for you. I even have 3 videos in that season, which is about, it talks about terminal illnesses. You know how worse, if we have, and if we encounter situations where are very extremely hard, more than a person that is being diagnosed that is going to die and have a certain lifetime, nothing can be more difficult than that. So be grace of the life you have, the opportunity you have, and go and grab that. You are worth it. You are worth it. And I hope I see you next time. Now I have to go, but I do love you very, very, very much. And I hope you don't forget about me. I'm your coach. And remember that God is in your business. See you next time.